Olivia glared at her phone like it had personally insulted her entire family. Another text from her boss, demanding an urgent report at 7 p.m. on a Friday. Fantastic, because apparently her personal life was just a scheduling error. Olivia to Zoe. I swear if this micromanager sends me one more just a quick thing, I'm going to respond that the only quick thing here will be my exit from this place. Send. Deep breath. She shoved the phone in her bag and marched toward the break room for coffee with extra resentment. When she got back to her desk, there was a reply, but it wasn't from Zoe. Unknown number. Well, that's quite the Friday evening declaration. Should I be concerned about the structural integrity of the building, or is this more of a metaphorical exit? Olivia's stomach dropped straight through the floor and kept going until it hit the parking garage. Hello, I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. Olivia. Future reference for what exactly? Unknown. Let's just say I spend a lot of time thinking about workplace dynamics. So tell me, what did this taskmaster do to earn such dedicated annoyance? And, somehow, Olivia spent the next hour spilling everything to this mystery person. The impossible deadlines, the meetings that should have been emails, the way her boss took credit for her ideas, the passive-aggressive comments disguised as constructive feedback. The mystery person was funny, quick, and weirdly understood every single complaint. Unknown. Let me guess he also loves the phrase let's circle back when he means I'm ignoring your concern completely. Olivia, stop. How do you know this? Unknown. I've encountered the species before. Olivia. So, you've got a nightmare boss too? Unknown. Something like that. Hey, I've got a meeting in 5, but this was surprisingly entertaining. Thanks for the accidental therapy session, Olivia. Olivia. Sorry for dumping my work drama on a total stranger. Unknown. Don't be. Honestly, best conversation I've had all week. Olivia stared at her screen, smiling like an absolute fool. Zoe was going to die when she heard about this. Monday morning, Olivia walked into Apex Dynamics carrying her usual vanilla latte and a surprisingly good mood. The weekend of anonymous venting had been unexpectedly cathartic. Then she opened her email. Subject. Company-wide meeting. Mandatory. 10 a.m. Sharp from executive leadership. Perfect, Olivia muttered. Another motivational speech about thinking outside the box and moving the needle. The main conference room was absolutely stuffed with people. Olivia squeezed into the back row next to Zoe. What do you think this is? Zoe whispered. Probably another impossible quarterly goal wrapped in corporate buzzwords. The head of HR took the stage, tapping the microphone. Good morning, everyone. We have some important updates. As most of you know, our CEO has been away managing some personal matters. Has returned as of this morning and wants to personally meet those of you he hasn't connected with yet. Olivia tried not to yawn. Please welcome back Ethan Callahan. A man stepped onto the stage, sharp gray suit, tie slightly loosened at the collar, brown hair that looked effortlessly messy. He flashed a confident smile at the crowd. Olivia nearly choked on air. That smile. She absolutely knew that smile. He checked his phone briefly. Then his eyes swept methodically across the packed room and stopped right on her. His smile flickered, then transformed into something way too amused. No, absolutely not. This is not happening. Ethan Callahan, the CEO, the founder of Apex Dynamics, was the mystery texter, and she'd spent Friday evening complaining about workplace tyranny to the guy who owned the entire company. Great to be back, Ethan said into the mic, though his gaze stayed laser-focused on Olivia. I'm really looking forward to connecting with everyone here, especially our most articulate talent. Zoe elbowed her sharply. Why do you look like you're having a medical emergency? Because I am, Olivia hissed. A career-ending medical emergency. Ethan kept talking something about quarterly projections, innovation pipeline, standard CEO stuff. Olivia heard absolutely nothing. She was too busy mentally calculating if she could somehow phase through the wall like a ghost. She could not, because Ethan had just announced, to start reconnecting with the team, he'll be scheduling one-on-ones with key people this week. Olivia Bennett from Digital Marketing, can you stay behind for a few minutes after we wrap? I'd love to discuss some upcoming initiatives. Discuss initiatives? Zoe's mouth fell open. Liv, the CEO just called you out by name. I'm aware, Olivia whispered. I'm also considering fleeing to Canada. The meeting ended. People streamed out, chattering excitedly. Olivia seriously contemplated whether crawling under the conference table counted as a viable escape plan. It did not. She stayed alone with Ethan Callahan, who was smiling far too much. So, he said casually, perching on the edge of the table, on-demand work robot. Olivia wanted the earth to just swallow her whole right there. I can explain. Please do. I'm genuinely fascinated by your weekend plans. I wasn't actually planning to quit. He laughed, a real, genuine laugh that completely changed his whole face. Relax. Breathe. I'm not firing you. You're not even remotely. Want to know why? Ethan stood up, moving a step closer, that dangerous amusement still lighting his eyes. Because that conversation Friday was the most honest feedback I've gotten in 6 months. And because I'm really curious about something. He stopped right in front of her. Who exactly is this micromanaging boss you were so creatively describing? Olivia blinked, and then understanding hit like a freight train. I was venting about Brendan, my direct manager. Brendan Foster, that's him. Ethan nodded slowly, and something shifted behind his expression, something almost interested. Interesting timing. I've actually been reviewing management practices across all departments, and I genuinely value hearing more about your, let's call them observations on leadership effectiveness. Is this some kind of elaborate termination process? This is a coffee invitation. He pulled a business card from his jacket and handed it to her. My actual number. Today, 6 p.m. That place on 5th Street. I want the full story. Consider it an informal consultation. Olivia took the card with hands that wouldn't quite cooperate. And Olivia. Ethan's smile returned, definitely the same one from their texts. Next time you want to discuss workplace revolution, you've got my direct line now. Apparently, I'm a decent listener. He walked out, actually whistling some tune. Olivia stared at the card, then her phone, then back at the card. I'm completely doomed, she whispered to the empty room. Hello, I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. So, Ethan began, wrapping his hands around his cup. Tell me about Brendan. Seriously? You actually want to hear about my manager? I want to understand why one of my most talented employees was contemplating a dramatic exit last Friday. Most talented? You don't even know my work. I looked you up. He pulled out his phone, scrolling. That campaign you designed for our Q2 product launch increased engagement by 287%. The social media strategy you pitched last month that Brendan somehow presented as his own idea, brilliant, should have been implemented immediately. Olivia's coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. You knew he took credit for that? I suspected. Now I'm confirming. Ethan leaned back, expression serious. So tell me everything. And somehow, Olivia did. The impossible last-minute requests, the meetings that accomplished nothing, the way Brendan would shoot down her ideas in front of everyone, then present them as his own later, how he'd critique her work with vague feedback like this doesn't feel right, without ever explaining what right would look like. Ethan listened with complete focus, occasionally asking questions, taking actual notes on his phone. The worst part, Olivia continued, now on her second coffee and completely filter-free, is that he uses these motivational poster phrases like their actual management strategies. Last week when I showed him a critical system error that deleted 3 weeks of content, he said, "Every setback is a setup for a comeback." Ethan, 3 weeks of work. Gone. That wasn't a setup. That was a disaster. She stopped, breathed. Sorry, I called you Ethan. Mr. Callahan, sir, your executive majesty. Ethan was laughing so hard he had to wipe his eyes. Please, never call me executive majesty again. And yes, call me Ethan. Considering you already shared detailed workplace escape plans with me, I think we're past formalities. You're really not gonna fire me? His expression shifted to something more serious. Can I tell you something? She nodded. I was away for 3 months because my dad had a major health scare. I spent that entire time at the hospital, completely disconnected from Apex. And when I came back, he paused. I realized a lot was happening that I didn't know about. Managers I trusted were, let's say, not reflecting the company culture I wanted to build. Oh, so no, I'm not firing you. I'm thanking you for being honest, and I'm going to look into some things. Olivia felt something weird in her chest, gratitude, relief, attraction to someone who actually listened. No, definitely not that last one. That would be extremely inconvenient. Now, Ethan leaned forward with that dangerous smile returning. Tell me about the time you almost threw your laptop out the window. How do you know about that? You mentioned it Friday. Defenestration of technology were your exact words. And just like that, they spent 2 more hours talking. Ethan sharing ridiculous CEO stories he couldn't tell anyone else. Olivia revealing other workplace absurdities she'd been quietly tolerating. It was dangerously easy to talk to him. Way too easy. It's getting late, Ethan said finally, checking his watch. And technically I'm your boss, so I probably shouldn't keep you here until he glanced at the time. Wow, 9 p.m. Technically you invited me. Technically you threatened corporate abandonment first. They walked out together into the cool evening air. Olivia had forgotten her jacket. Here. Ethan shrugged off his suit jacket and draped it over her shoulders before she could protest. The fabric was warm, smelled like expensive cologne and something uniquely him. Ethan. Return it Monday. Gives you an excuse to stop by my office. He smiled, waved, and slid into an Uber. Olivia stood on the sidewalk, wrapped in his jacket, her sensible doing extremely unprofessional things. Friday morning, Olivia was grabbing coffee in the break room when Zoe burst in, practically vibrating. Liv, did you see the email? What email? Brendan got transferred to the Phoenix office, and you've been promoted to marketing director. Coffee nearly escaped Olivia's grip entirely. What? It just went out, official HR announcement. Brendan Foster transferred. Olivia Bennett promoted to Director of Digital Marketing. Effective immediately. Olivia sprinted to her desk, pulling up her email. There it was. Official HR communication. Restructuring. Brendan transferred. Olivia promoted starting today. Her hands shook as she grabbed her phone. Olivia, did you do this? Ethan. Do what? Olivia. Don't play innocent. Ethan. I have no idea what you're referring to, but I did hear we have a new marketing director. Should probably celebrate. Dinner? Olivia. Ethan. He was already under investigation for several issues. Your conversation just accelerated an existing process, and the promotion you earned that. I reviewed your entire portfolio. You should have been director 6 months ago. Olivia. You reviewed my portfolio. Ethan. I may be CEO, but I still know how to use Google Drive. That campaign you designed for the app launch genius. Someone should have recognized that way sooner. Olivia felt her face heating up. Olivia, people are going to think there's favoritism. Ethan. People can think whatever they want. I saw the metrics. You increased our engagement by 340% last quarter. That's not favoritism. That's recognition of actual talent. Olivia. Still. Ethan. Still, nothing except the dinner invitation. Olivia. Not as CEO and employee. Just as the guy who got an accidental text, and the woman who writes the best workplace rebellion messages I've ever seen. Olivia bit her lip, smiling despite herself. Olivia. This is absolutely the worst idea ever. Ethan. Completely agree. Saturday, 7 p.m. Olivia, you're impossible. Ethan, that's part of my charm. Olivia stared at her screen at the promotion email, at his messages. This was going to explode spectacularly. It was written in the Corporate Stars HR manual, page 1. Don't date the CEO. But he was funny. He listened, and he had that smile. Olivia, Yes. But when this goes sideways, I'm seriously considering that exit strategy. Ethan, fair enough. I'll send you the address. And Olivia? Ethan. Congratulations on the promotion. You're incredible at what you do. Zoe appeared behind her desk. Why are you blushing and smiling? And wait, is that the CEO? Are you texting the CEO? Zoe, I can explain. Explain then. Because last I checked, you wanted to leave this place. Olivia looked at her phone, at Ethan's jacket still hanging on her chair, at her life that had completely flipped in 1 week. Remember that wrong number text I told you about? Zoe's eyes went huge. No. Yes. No. Yes. Liv, you sent that message to the CEO. I didn't know it was him. And now I think I have a date with him Saturday. Zoe actually screamed loud enough that half the floor looked over. Zoe, quiet. You're going on a date with the CEO after threatening to quit his company? When you say it like that, it sounds way worse. Because it is. Zoe grabbed her shoulders. Liv, this is insane. This is actually... Wait, this is kind of amazing. I mean, he's gorgeous, he's successful, and apparently he has a sense of humor about corporate rebellion. It's probably a terrible idea, probably, but also possibly the best terrible idea ever. Zoe grinned. So what are you wearing? Saturday night, 6:45 p.m. Olivia was having a minor crisis in her bathroom mirror. The dress was good, right? Not too formal, not too casual. Ethan had said dinner, but hadn't specified the type. Could be pizza, could be 5-star. Based on the address Head sent, it was definitely the latter. She arrived at 7:03 fashionably late and found Ethan waiting outside the restaurant. Dark jeans, white button-down with sleeves rolled up, no tie, hair slightly messier than his CEO look. He looked unfairly attractive. You look amazing, he said. You're not wearing a suit. Told you I wasn't being CEO tonight, just Ethan. And I'm just Olivia. You've always been just Olivia. Since that first text. They walked inside. The restaurant was elegant, but not stuffy. Exposed brick, soft lighting, actual personality. I know the owner, Ethan said as they sat. We went to college together. I stopped him from making some truly regrettable decisions sophomore year. What kind of decisions? He wanted to get a neck tattoo of his ex-girlfriend's name in Chinese characters that he couldn't read. Olivia snorted into her water glass. The dinner was perfect. They talked about everything. How Ethan had started Apex in his tiny apartment, how Olivia had chosen marketing because she loved understanding what made people connect with ideas, their mutual obsession with true crime podcasts, that embarrassing moment everyone has from company parties. You did not dance on a table, Ethan said. I absolutely did. At last year's holiday party, Zoe has video evidence. I need to see this video. You absolutely do not. Too late. It's now a professional development requirement. As CEO, I need to assess coordination skills. You're ridiculous. You've mentioned that before. I'm starting to think it's a compliment. Everything was going amazingly well until dessert arrived and a woman's voice said behind them, Ethan. They both turned. A tall blonde woman in a red power suit stood there, expression carefully neutral but eyes sharp. Vanessa. Ethan's entire body language shifted. Hi. Didn't expect to run into you here. Her gaze moved to Olivia with obvious curiosity. And with company. Before Olivia could respond, Ethan cut in. Vanessa. This is Olivia. Olivia Vanessa. Just Olivia. No context. No explanation. Something cold settled in Olivia's stomach. Nice to meet you, Vanessa said, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Ethan and I have known each other for years. Business partners, actually. Well, former partners. It's complicated. Complicated seemed to be the theme. I won't interrupt your evening, Vanessa continued, though she made no move to leave. But Ethan, we should talk soon about the investor meeting. You've been avoiding my calls. I've been busy. I can see that. Her eyes flicked to Olivia again. Well, enjoy your night. She glided away, leaving tension thick enough to cut. Silence stretched between them. Olivia finally asked, trying to sound casual. Yeah, 2 years ago. It's... He ran a hand through his hair, the nervous gesture Shed noticed before. It's complicated. She connected Apex with some major investors early on. We were together, then we weren't, but we still have professional ties. She wants... He trailed off, looking frustrated. She wants things to go back to how they were. And do you? No, absolutely not. But she's persistent and well-connected, and I can't just cut ties completely without risking some important business relationships. Olivia nodded, but something had shifted. The perfect evening had developed a crack. Ethan's phone buzzed and buzzed again and again. Sorry, I need to check this. It's the office. He stepped away, and Olivia sat there alone, processing. When he came back, he looked stressed. Everything okay? Security breach. Someone tried to hack our client database. IT team needs me to authorize emergency protocols on a Saturday night. Cyber criminals don't take weekends off, apparently. He looked genuinely upset. I'm so sorry. This is not how I wanted tonight to go. It's fine. Work is work. Let me at least get you home. In the Uber ride, Ethan insisted on dropping her off first. He stayed glued to his phone, coordinating with his security team. When they reached her building, he finally looked up. Tonight was interrupted by ex-partners and security breaches. Definitely memorable. That's not what I meant. Ethan, it's fine. Really. Go handle your crisis. He looked like he wanted to say more. Instead, he just nodded. Monday. Well, talk Monday. I promise. Olivia climbed out and watched the car drive away. Inside her apartment, Zoe was waiting with wine and questions. So how was it? It was confusing. Confusing good or confusing bad? Confusing. I don't know. She explained everything. The perfect dinner, Vanessa, the security breach, the way Head seemed distant after. Liv, Zoe said carefully. He probably called you just Olivia because you were in public and you two aren't officially anything yet. Or because he actually only sees me as just an employee he happened to text. You don't believe that. You saw how he looked at you. And what if it's just physical attraction? What if when that fades, I'm just another employee? What if it's not? What if it's real? Olivia curled up on the couch, staring at her phone. It buzzed. Ethan, I'm sorry about tonight. Really sorry. I'll make it up to you. Olivia, how's the security situation? Ethan. Under control for now. I'm going to be here all night though. Olivia. Coffee and good luck then. Ethan. Olivia. Olivia. Ethan. Tonight was the best night I've had in years. Even with the disasters. Especially before the disasters. Olivia smiled at her screen despite everything. Olivia. Talk Monday. Ethan. Monday. No interruptions, I promise. But Monday came with its own complications. When Olivia arrived at work, Ethan was nowhere to be found, and Vanessa was sitting in the main conference room with Ethan's entire executive team, looking very much like she belonged there. Olivia stood frozen in the hallway, staring through the glass wall. Vanessa sat at the head of the table like she owned the place, gesturing animatedly while Ethan's VP of Operations, CFO, and Head of Product Development all nodded along. She had a presentation pulled up, charts, graphs, the works. What the heck is happening? Zoe appeared beside Olivia, coffee in hand. I have absolutely no idea. Is that the ex from Saturday? Yep. And she's just in there with the executive team, apparently. They watched as Vanessa laughed at something the CFO said, touching his arm casually. She looked completely comfortable, like Shed never left. Olivia's phone buzzed. Ethan, can you come to my office? Need to talk. Her stomach twisted into complicated knots. Olivia. Now? Ethan, please. She took the elevator to the executive floor, her new director credentials getting her past security without question. Still felt surreal. Ethan's assistant waved her straight through. He was standing by the window, tie loosened, looking exhausted, like he hadn't slept. You look terrible, Olivia said before she could stop herself. He turned, managing a tired smile. Thanks. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Sorry. You look terrible in a concerned way. Nice save. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sit, please. Olivia sat, hands folded in her lap, trying to ignore how her heart was hammering. About Saturday, he started. About Vanessa being in your conference room right now. She hadn't meant for it to come out that sharp. Ethan winced. Yeah. About that. So what? You two are back together. Business partners again? I'm just confused about what I walked into this morning. We're not back together at all. He rubbed his face with both hands. The security breach Saturday, it was worse than I initially thought. We lost some sensitive client data. Vanessa's firm specializes in crisis management and investor relations. The board insisted we bring her in as a consultant. The board insisted? Yes. And I didn't have much choice. 3 board members threatened to call an emergency vote if I didn't bring in expert help immediately. Vanessa's firm is the best at this. Olivia processed this. It made logical sense, but it still felt awful. So what does this mean for? She gestured vaguely between them. Ethan stood up, moving around the desk to lean against it, closer to her. It means we need to be careful. More careful than I wanted to be. Careful meaning what exactly? He met her eyes directly. The board is already questioning some of my recent decisions. If they think there's anything unprofessional happening between us, they'll use it against both of us. Against you especially. So what are you saying? I'm saying we should probably cool things down publicly until this crisis is resolved and Vanessa's gone. There it was, the thing Olivia had been dreading since Saturday night. Right, makes sense. She stood up, keeping her voice steady. Professional distance. Got it. Olivia, no, really. I understand. You're CEO, I'm a newly promoted director. People are watching. It makes total sense. That's not. He stepped closer, frustration clear on his face. I don't want to do this, but I can't let them tear you apart because of me. And they will. Vanessa already made a comment this morning about interesting new management choices. Olivia felt ice in her veins. She knows about us. She suspects, and she's really good at weaponizing suspicions. So this is about her. This is about protecting you and your career. You earned that promotion, Olivia. I won't let anyone take that away from you by suggesting otherwise. He looked genuinely miserable, which somehow made it worse. How long? Olivia asked quietly. The consulting contract is for 3 weeks, maybe less if we resolve things faster. 3 weeks. 21 days of pretending Saturday night didn't happen. Of watching Vanessa waltz around like she owned the place. Okay, Olivia said, heading toward the door. Wait. Ethan caught her arm gently. I know this isn't what either of us wanted, but it doesn't change anything between us. Not really, doesn't it though? She looked at where his hand touched her arm, then back at his face. 3 weeks is a long time, Ethan. A lot can change. Not this. Not us. Olivia wanted to believe him, but the corporate world had taught her that intentions meant nothing compared to circumstances. I should get back to work. New director responsibilities and all. She left before he could say anything else. The next 2 weeks were absolute torture. Olivia threw herself into her new role, redesigning the entire digital marketing strategy, implementing new campaigns, crushing every metric. If people were going to whisper about favoritism, she'd make sure her work spoke louder. But everywhere she turned, there was Vanessa in the executive meetings. Olivia now attended as director, in the hallways laughing with board members, in the cafeteria coincidentally showing up wherever Ethan was. Chase, circling him like a shark, Zoe observed during lunch Wednesday of week 2. She's doing her job, Olivia said, stabbing her salad more aggressively than necessary. Her job doesn't include touching his arm every 5 seconds. Olivia had noticed that too, the casual touches, the inside jokes, the way Vanessa would lean in close when talking to him. They have history. It's normal. You don't actually believe that. She didn't. But what was she supposed to do? Her phone buzzed. Ethan. Conference room C, 5 minutes. Need your input on something. Conference room C was the small one, the private one. Olivia found him already there, door closed, blinds drawn. This looks suspicious, she said, hovering by the door. I haven't talked to you alone in 12 days, Ethan said. not moving from where he stood by the table. I'm going slightly insane. Ethan, I know. Professional distance. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. Except they couldn't. Because that afternoon everything exploded. Olivia was in her office reviewing campaign analytics when her phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Thought you should see this before it goes public. An image loaded. It was a photo of her and Ethan from that first coffee shop meeting 2 weeks ago, sitting close, laughing, completely absorbed in conversation. It looked intimate, damning, unknown. Interesting relationship between a CEO and a newly promoted director, don't you think? Would be a shame if this ended up with HR or the board. Olivia's hands shook. Another message came through. Unknown. Back off. Has not yours to have. He never was. No name. But Olivia knew exactly who it was. She was trying to figure out what to do when Zoe burst into her office. Liv, have you seen the internal message board? What? No? Why? Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. When she got there, he was pacing like a caged animal. Vanessa sat in one of his chairs, looking concerned but somehow also satisfied. You saw the forum, Ethan said without preamble. Yeah. IT is tracking the IP address. Well, find out who posted it. Does it matter? Everyone's already seen it. Everyone already thinks. She couldn't finish the sentence. HR is drafting a statement. Vanessa interjected smoothly, clarifying that Miss Bennett's promotion was based entirely on merit and was recommended by multiple department heads, not just Ethan. Which is true, Ethan added forcefully. Every word of that is documented truth. But perception is reality in corporate politics, Vanessa continued. And right now the perception is problematic for both of you. Olivia looked at Ethan, at Vanessa, at the disaster unfolding around them. What do you suggest? She asked, voice hollow. Vanessa stood, smoothing her skirt. I suggest you both maintain maximum professional distance. No private meetings, no personal communication, everything through official channels. And Ethan, she turned to him, the board is already jumpy about your management decisions. This isn't helping. I don't care what the board thinks. Olivia earned, I know she did, Vanessa interrupted, but her eyes said something else. But right now you need to care about optics. Both of you do. Olivia felt trapped, cornered, like every move would be wrong. I should go, she said quietly. Olivia, Ethan started. She's right about the optics. About everything. Olivia headed for the door. Stay out of your way. That's not what I want, but it's what we need, right? She left before either of them could respond. The rest of the week was a blur of work, whispers, and sideways glances. Olivia kept her head down, produced incredible results, and avoided Ethan completely. Friday afternoon, she was packing up to leave when her email pinged. From IT security subject. Anonymous forum post-investigation results. The IP address had been traced to Vanessa's laptop. Olivia stared at the screen, hands shaking with fury. She forwarded it to Ethan without a word. 30 seconds later, her phone rang. Don't come in Monday, Ethan said without greeting. What? Work from home Monday. Please trust me. Ethan, what's going on? Just trust me. Okay. He hung up. Olivia sat in her office completely confused, holding a smoking gun that Vanessa had sabotaged her and Ethan had just told her to stay away. 8 days had turned into a minefield, and she had no idea what was coming next. Monday morning, Olivia woke up at 6 a.m. Despite having nowhere to go, her brain refused to let her sleep in when she was supposed to be avoiding the office for mysterious reasons Ethan wouldn't explain. She had spent the entire weekend replaying everything. The forum post, the threatening messages, Vanessa's smug face, the IT report proving Vanessa had sabotaged her, and Ethan's cryptic instruction to stay home. She made coffee, opened her laptop to work remotely, and tried not to check her phone every 30 seconds. At 8:47 a.m., her phone finally rang. "Zoe, are you watching?" "Watching what?" "The company stream. Ethan called an all-hands emergency meeting. It's happening right now." Olivia scrambled to open her laptop, pulling up the company's internal streaming platform. Sure enough, the main conference room was packed, and the stream had over 300 employees logged in remotely. Ethan stood at the front, looking nothing like the exhausted, frustrated man from Friday. He looked sharp, focused, dangerous, and Vanessa sat in the front row looking confused. "Good morning, everyone," Ethan began, his voice carrying that CEO authority Olivia had only heard a few times. "I've called this meeting to address some serious issues that have come to light regarding professional conduct, corporate sabotage, and integrity." The room went dead silent. As many of you saw last week, there was an anonymous post on our internal forum making accusations about favoritism in recent promotion decisions, specifically regarding the promotion of Olivia Bennett to Director of Digital Marketing. Olivia's stomach dropped. Was he about to throw her under the bus publicly? "I want to be crystal clear about something," Ethan continued, his tone hardening. "That promotion was not only deserved, it was overdue. Miss Bennett increased our digital engagement by 340% over the past 6 months. She designed the campaign that landed our 3 largest clients this quarter. Her work has directly contributed to a 28% revenue increase in her department." He clicked a remote and a presentation appeared on the screen behind him. Charts, metrics, undeniable proof. Her promotion was recommended by 4 separate department heads and approved by our HR director before it ever reached my desk. The decision was unanimous. The only mistake made was that we didn't promote her 6 months earlier. Olivia's hand covered her mouth. He was defending her publicly with receipts. However, Ethan's voice dropped, becoming ice cold. Someone in this company decided to weaponize anonymous forums and harassment to undermine a talented employee, to damage her reputation, to create a hostile work environment based on completely fabricated insinuations. He clicked again. The anonymous forum post appeared on screen. Our IT security team traced this post. It originated from a device registered to Vanessa Hartley, who has been working here as a consultant. The camera panned slightly. Vanessa had gone pale. Miss Hartley also sent threatening messages to Miss Bennett, including photographs taken without consent with implied blackmail. Another click. The threatening texts appeared. Phone number visible. That phone number is registered to Miss Hartley's consulting firm. The conference room erupted in whispers. Vanessa stood up, her composure cracking. "Ethan, this is ridiculous. Sit down." His voice cut through the room like a blade. "I'm not finished." Vanessa sat, but her expression had transformed from shock to fury. This company was built on principles of integrity, respect, and merit-based advancement. What Miss Hartley did violates every single one of those principles. It's also illegal. Cyberbullying, harassment, and attempted blackmail are criminal offenses. He turned to look directly at Vanessa. "Your consulting contract is terminated effective immediately. You have 30 minutes to collect your belongings and exit the building. Security will escort you, and my legal team will be in contact regarding the harassment charges Miss Bennett will be filing." "You can't do this," Vanessa spat. "The board approved my contract. Hello, I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. And some girl is a brilliant professional who earned her position through actual talent, something you clearly know nothing about." Vanessa's face twisted with rage and humiliation. She grabbed her bag and stormed toward the exit, the security guards following. At the door she turned back. "You'll regret this, Ethan. When this little romance falls apart and she leaves you looking like a fool, that's enough. Leave now." She left. The door closed with a heavy thud. The conference room sat in stunned silence. Ethan took a breath, his expression softening slightly. "I want to address something else. There have been rumors, speculation, and gossip about my personal life and Miss Bennett's. Here is the truth. I have tremendous respect for her as a professional. Her promotion had nothing to do with anything except her exceptional work. He paused, and something flickered in his expression. However, I will also not apologize for the fact that I think she's remarkable, that I enjoy talking to her, that I value her perspective both professionally and personally. Those feelings don't diminish her accomplishments. They exist separately from them. Olivia's heart was hammering so hard she thought it might crack a rib. If anyone has concerns about favoritism or impropriety, HR has an open-door policy. Bring your concerns there with specific examples, not anonymous forum posts. If anyone feels they've been treated unfairly, let's have that conversation directly and professionally. He clicked off the presentation. That's all. Thank you for your time. Get back to doing the incredible work you all do. The stream ended. Olivia sat frozen on her couch, staring at the blank screen. Her phone exploded with texts. Zoe. Olivia. What just happened, Zoe? Did the CEO just publicly defend you and fire his ex, Zoe? And basically confess he has feelings for you, Zoe? On a company-wide stream, Zoe. Liv, answer me. But before Olivia could respond, her doorbell rang. She walked to the door in a daze, still wearing pajama pants and an oversized sweatshirt, and opened it. Ethan stood there, tie loosened, looking like he'd just fought and won a war. Hi, he said. Hi, she managed. Can I come in? She stepped aside. He walked into her apartment, ran a hand through his hair, and turned to face her. So, that happened. That definitely happened. I probably should have warned you more specifically, but I couldn't risk it leaking before this morning. You fired her in front of everyone. I fired her because she harassed you, sabotaged your reputation, and broke about 6 different laws. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. Come on, Olivia, you had to know. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. From that first accidental text, I was hooked. Your humor, your passion, the way you see things differently than everyone else in that building. I tried to be professional. I tried to keep distance. But I can't stop thinking about you. This is still complicated, she whispered. I know. Your boss, probably shouldn't be standing in your apartment confessing feelings. HR would have a field day with the power dynamics probably. But am willing to navigate complicated if you are. We can set boundaries. We can be transparent with HR. We can do this the right way. He squeezed her hands gently. If you want to do this at all, because I just blew up my ex-girlfriend on a company stream for you, and I'm realizing I never actually asked if you felt the same way. Olivia laughed, the sound slightly hysterical. You're an idiot. That's not a yes. Of course I feel the same way. I've been going quietly insane for 3 weeks, wanting to talk to you, be near you, not having to pretend that coffee meeting didn't mean everything. He kissed her finally, actually kissed her after weeks of almost and not quite and terrible timing. It was everything perfect and messy and real. When they broke apart, both slightly breathless, Ethan was smiling, that smile she'd fallen for through text messages. So we're doing this? We're doing this. But we're doing it right. HR transparency, clear boundaries. No secret meetings. Agreed. Well, maybe some secret meetings for personal reasons. Ethan kidding. Mostly. He pulled her close again. I should probably let you get dressed and actually start your workday. I told you to work from home because I knew this morning was going to be chaos, and I didn't want you dealing with the immediate fallout in person. He kissed her forehead. But now that Vanessa's gone and everything's public, you can come back tomorrow if you want. What if people are weird about it? Then we deal with it together professionally. But Olivia, your work speaks for itself. The metrics don't lie. Anyone who has a problem with you will have to go through documented proof that you're exceptional at your job. She leaned into him, feeling the tension of 3 weeks finally releasing. Thank you for defending me like that. Thank you for being worth defending. And for accidentally texting me that day? Best wrong number ever. Tuesday morning, Olivia walked into Apex Dynamics expecting whispers, stares, judgment. Instead, she got a standing ovation from the marketing department. Are you kidding? Marcus, one of her team members, said when she looked confused. You survived a sabotage attempt from the CEO's Psycho X and came out with a public validation of your work. You're a legend. I'm really not. The metrics Ethan showed yesterday were insane, another colleague added. 340% engagement increase. That's not favoritism, that's just being amazing at your job. Zoe appeared with coffee. See? I told you it would be fine. You said no such thing. You were panicking with me all weekend. True, but I'm retroactively claiming I was confident the whole time. Olivia's first meeting of the day was the weekly marketing sync. She half expected awkwardness, but everyone treated her exactly the same, asking her opinion, deferring to her expertise, treating her like the director she'd earned the right to be. At lunch she got a text. Ethan, how's the first day back? Olivia. Surprisingly normal. People are being professional. Ethan. Told you your work speaks for itself. Olivia. Still feels weird. Ethan. Give it time. Want to grab dinner later somewhere, not the place where Vanessa interrupted us. Olivia. Is that allowed? Aren't we supposed to be careful about optics? Ethan. I talked to HR this morning, disclosed our relationship. They said as long as I'm not directly supervising you day to day and we maintain professional boundaries at work, we're fine. You report to the VP of Marketing who reports to me. That's enough separation. Olivia. You talked to HR already. Ethan. First thing this morning. I told you we're doing this the right way. Olivia smiled at her phone. Olivia. Dinner sounds perfect. Wednesday things got more interesting. Olivia was in a meeting with the executive team, her first since the Vanessa explosion, presenting her Q4 digital strategy. This is impressive work, the CFO said, studying her projections. These conversion rates seem ambitious, though. Can you break down how you're planning to achieve them? Olivia walked them through her methodology, the data supporting her projections, the tests she'd already run. She was in her element, confident and clear. Ethan sat at the far end of the table, barely participating, letting her shine completely on her own merit. After the meeting, the VP of Operations pulled her aside. That was excellent. Really solid strategy. Thank you. Look, I'm going to be direct, because I think you deserve it. He glanced around, lowering his voice. Some of us on the executive team were skeptical about your promotion at first. The timing seemed convenient. But after seeing your work these past few weeks, and especially that presentation just now, you earned this position. Anyone who says otherwise is an idiot. Olivia felt something loosen in her chest, validation from someone who had no reason to flatter her. I appreciate you saying that. Just keep doing what you're doing. The results speak for themselves. Thursday brought the inevitable complication. A business magazine published an article. Apex Dynamics CEO fires consultant amid harassment allegations, workplace romance or professional misconduct. The article was mostly factual, citing Ethan's public statements and the documented harassment, but it raised questions about whether his personal feelings had influenced his business decisions. Olivia read it in her office, stomach sinking. Her phone rang. Ethan, don't read the article, he said immediately. Too late. It's garbage journalism. They're trying to create controversy where there isn't any. But they're not completely wrong to ask questions, Ethan. You fired your ex and defended me publicly. People are going to wonder. Let them wonder. Our legal team already sent a statement to the publication with documentation of Vanessa's harassment, the IT logs, the threatening messages, everything. If they want to make this a story, we have receipts for days. This isn't going away easily. I know. But we knew it wouldn't be simple. His voice softened. Are you okay? I'm fine. Just worried about you, your reputation. My reputation will be fine. The board got the full documentation yesterday. Even the skeptics admitted Vanessa crossed every line. This article is just noise. Ethan. Dinner tonight? I'm thinking Thai food and watching you stress-eat pad Thai while I convince you everything's going to be fine. That's oddly specific. I'm learning your patterns. Thai food sounds perfect. Friday afternoon, the board called an emergency meeting. Ethan had been in there for 3 hours. Olivia tried to focus on work, but every 30 minutes she checked her phone. Nothing. At 4:47 p.m., Zoe burst into her office. The board meeting just ended. Ethan's walking out now. He looks, I can't tell if it's good or bad. Olivia pulled up the company directory, hovering over Ethan's extension. Before she could call, her office door opened. Ethan walked in, closed the door behind him, and leaned against it. "Well?" Olivia asked, heart hammering. The board had concerns about the optics, about whether my judgment was compromised, about liability. And I told them that my judgment was perfectly clear, that every decision I made was documented and defensible, that Vanessa's harassment was criminal, not corporate drama, and that my personal life, as long as it doesn't interfere with my professional responsibilities, is not subject to board approval. How did they respond? 3 board members wanted to issue a formal censure. 5 disagreed. 2 abstained. He smiled slightly. The censure failed, but they're watching closely. Any hint of actual favoritism or preferential treatment, and they'll have grounds to challenge my leadership. Olivia's stomach dropped. "Ethan, maybe we should." "No." He pushed off the door, moving toward her. "Don't finish that sentence. We're not backing down because they're watching closely. We're just going to be so absurdly professional and excellent at our jobs that they have nothing to complain about. That's a lot of pressure. You're already doing it. Your Q4 strategy got approved with unanimous executive support, including from people who were skeptical of you 2 weeks ago." He reached for her hands. "We've got this." "You're sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." Olivia looked at him, this man who defended her publicly, navigated board politics, and refused to let circumstances dictate his choices. "Okay. We've got this. Dinner? Actually, I have a better idea. Come over tonight." "I'll cook." "Well, watch something mindless." "Well, just be normal people for a few hours instead of CEO and director under corporate scrutiny." "That sounds perfect." That night, Olivia's apartment became their sanctuary. She made pasta slightly overcooked but edible. Ethan brought wine expensive, because of course he did. They sat on her couch, watching a terrible action movie and dissecting its plot holes. No explosion that big would leave the protagonist with just photogenic dirt smudges, Ethan pointed out. And somehow she's running in heels through all of it without breaking an ankle. Completely unrealistic, says the CEO who just survived a corporate coup attempt. That was different. I had documentation. Olivia laughed, settling more comfortably against his shoulder. "Can I ask you something?" she said during a particularly slow scene. "Always. When did you know that this was more than just accidental texting chemistry?" Ethan was quiet for a moment, his fingers absently playing with her hair. "Honestly? That first coffee meeting. You were nervous but trying to hide it. You made sarcastic comments about corporate culture that were so accurate they hurt. And when you talked about your work, about why you love marketing, your whole face lit up." He tilted her chin up to look at her. "I thought, this woman is extraordinary, and I'm going to screw this up somehow because I'm technically her boss. You didn't screw it up. Came close a few times. The whole Vanessa situation was her screwing things up, not you. You handled it." Olivia kissed him softly. "Maybe not with the subtlety HR would recommend, but you handled it. Public terminations are apparently frowned upon in management textbooks. Who knew?" They went back to the movie comfortable and together, the chaos of the past weeks finally settling into something manageable. Around 11 p.m., Ethan reluctantly started gathering his things. "I should go. You have that presentation tomorrow morning." "Stay," Olivia said, then immediately backtracked. "I mean, you don't have to, but you could if you wanted." "No pressure. I just meant." He kissed her, cutting off the rambling. "I'd love to stay." Saturday morning, Olivia woke up to sunlight streaming through her windows and the smell of coffee. She found Ethan in her kitchen. Somehow, having located her French press and actual coffee beans she'd forgotten she owned. "You're a morning person," she observed. "Still half asleep. And you're very much not. I brought you coffee. You're perfect. Remember that later when I inevitably do something idiotic." They spent the morning being deliberately normal breakfast, reading the news, arguing about whether the news was too depressing to read on weekends. Ethan had a conference call at noon, and Olivia had to review budget proposals. But for a few hours, they were just 2 people, who'd found each other through the most ridiculous circumstances possible. As Ethan was leaving, he turned at the door. "We're going to be okay, you know. Whatever comes next." "How do you know?" "Because we already survived the worst of it: sabotage, public scrutiny, board investigations, corporate politics. If we can handle that in 3 weeks, we can handle anything." Olivia leaned against the door frame, smiling. "You know what the craziest part is?" "What?" "If I typed the right number that day, none of this would have happened. Guess you should thank your terrible texting skills. Or thank you for being the kind of person who responds to random workplace rants from strangers. Best decision I ever made." He kissed her goodbye, and Olivia watched him leave with the strangest, feeling like everything had been chaos, but was finally settling into place. Her phone buzzed. "Ethan. Already miss you. Is that too clingy?" "Olivia. Considering you just left 30 seconds ago, yes. But I'll allow it because I miss you too." "Ethan. Dinner tomorrow?" "Olivia. You're going to get sick of me if we keep this up." "Ethan. Impossible. See you tomorrow." Olivia smiled at her screen, thinking about wrong numbers and right timing and how sometimes the best things in life come from complete accidents. 3 weeks after Vanessa's spectacular exit, Olivia had settled into a strange new normal that involved being both incredibly happy and constantly paranoid. Happy because she was dating someone who made her laugh until her stomach hurt, who remembered how she took her coffee, and who looked at her like shed hung the moon. Paranoid because that someone was the CEO, and approximately 75 people were watching their every interaction with the intensity of wildlife documentary filmmakers. "You're overthinking again," Zoe said, watching Olivia stare at her lunch salad like it contained the mysteries of the universe. "I can literally see the gears grinding. I'm not overthinking. You've been stabbing that tomato for 3 minutes straight. It's already dead. You won." Olivia set down her fork. "Ethan and I have a strategy meeting this afternoon with the executive team. It's the first major presentation I'm giving since everything. What if people think he's going easy on me? Or worse, what if he overcompensates and is extra harsh to prove he's not being biased? Or wild thought, what if he treats you exactly like he treats everyone else and you're amazing at your job regardless? That's not how corporate politics work, and you know it. Maybe not, but it's how merit works." Zoe stole a cherry tomato from Olivia's salad. "You've been crushing it for weeks. Your campaign metrics are insane. The Q4 strategy is already showing results. You're not succeeding because of Ethan. You're succeeding in spite of having to deal with dating the CEO complications. When did you become the voice of reason?" "I've always been the voice of reason. You just usually ignore me." Zoe checked her phone. "Speaking of which, your boyfriend is in the lobby looking for you." "He's not supposed to. We have rules about." Olivia turned around. Sure enough, Ethan was walking through the cafeteria with his typical purposeful stride, completely oblivious to the dozen people who immediately stopped eating to watch him. "This is exactly what I'm talking about," Olivia hissed at Zoe. "Everyone's staring. Everyone always stares at the CEO, Liv. That's literally his job description." Ethan reached their table and Olivia's heart did that annoying flutter thing it had been doing for 5 weeks straight. "Ladies," he greeted them with a professional smile. "Olivia, do you have a minute? Need to discuss something about this afternoon's presentation." "Of course, Mr. Callahan." Olivia stood, cringing internally at the formal address they'd agreed to use in public. They walked to a quiet corner near the windows, far enough from eavesdroppers but visible enough that it looked completely professional. "You're using your worried face," Ethan said quietly. "I don't have a worried face." "You absolutely do. Your left eyebrow does this tiny scrunch thing," he demonstrated, which made her want to laugh and smack him simultaneously. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I'm just the presentation this afternoon is important, and you're worried I'm going to either softball you or overcompensate. How did you? Because I know you, and because I've been worrying about the exact same thing." He glanced around, making sure no one was in earshot. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to present your strategy like the brilliant director you are. I'm going to ask you the same tough questions I'd ask anyone presenting a major initiative. If your answers are solid, which they will be, I'll approve it. If there are legitimate concerns, well, address them just like any other business meeting. And if people still think whatever they think, then they think it. We can't control what people assume, Olivia. We can only control what we actually do, and what we're actually doing is two professionals who happen to be dating navigating a normal business meeting. Nothing about this is normal. Fair point. His expression softened. Are we still on for tonight? Your place or mine? Yours. I'll bring takeout. You pick the movie. I'll pretend to pay attention while actually just watching you quote all the dialogue. I do not quote all the dialogue. You quoted every single line of that detective movie last week, including the background extras. That movie is a cultural masterpiece and deserves respect. See, you're smiling now. Worry face gone. He checked his watch. Meeting's at 2. You've got this. I've got to run conference call with the West Coast team. He walked away, and Olivia returned to her table where Zoe was grinning like she'd won the lottery. You two are disgustingly cute. We were literally just talking about a meeting. You were literally making heart eyes at each other while discussing business strategy. It's adorable and kind of gross. I don't make heart eyes. You super do. The strategy meeting started at 2 p.m. sharp. Olivia walked into the executive conference room with her laptop. Presentation loaded, notes organized, and the kind of nervous energy that either resulted in brilliance or disaster. The executive team was already seated: VP of Operations, CFO, Head of Product Development, VP of Sales, and Ethan at the head of the table. Afternoon, everyone, Olivia started, pulling up her presentation. Today, I'm presenting our comprehensive Q1 digital marketing strategy with projections through the end of next fiscal year. She launched into it, and within 30 seconds her nervousness evaporated. This was her element: data, strategy, creative solutions backed by solid metrics. She showed them the campaign frameworks, the target demographic analysis, the projected ROI calculations. She'd stress-tested every assumption, run multiple scenario models, and built-in contingency plans. 15 minutes in, the CFO raised his hand. These conversion rate projections seem optimistic. What's your basis for a 23% increase over current rates? Olivia was ready. Great question. Our current conversion rate is artificially low due to outdated landing page architecture. I've run A/B tests over the past month with redesigned pages, and we're seeing a 31% improvement in controlled tests. The 23% projection is actually conservative, accounting for the difference between test environments and full deployment. She clicked to the next slide, showing the detailed test results. Additionally, our competitor analysis shows similar companies achieving 28–35% conversion rates with comparable strategies. We're not shooting for the moon, we're catching up to industry standards. The CFO nodded, taking notes. The VP of Sales jumped in. How does this integrate with our current sales pipeline? I don't want marketing generating leads that aren't actually qualified. Another excellent point. Olivia pulled up the lead qualification framework. We're implementing a new scoring system that filters leads before they hit your team based on engagement metrics, demographic data, and behavioral indicators. The goal is fewer leads but higher quality. I'd rather send you 50 genuinely interested prospects than 500 time wasters. I like that approach, the VP admitted. Question after question, Olivia fielded them all. She was prepared, confident, and she realized with some surprise actually enjoying this. Ethan sat at the end of the table, asking the occasional clarifying question but mostly letting everyone else grill her. 45 minutes later, she concluded with the budget breakdown and implementation timeline. Questions? Just one, Ethan said, and Olivia's stomach tightened. This implementation timeline shows launch in January. That's ambitious given the holiday slowdown. What's your confidence level on hitting that date? 85%, Olivia answered immediately. I've built in 2 weeks of buffer time. The critical path includes vendor selection by mid-November and content creation through December. The only risk factor is if we can't lock down our preferred development vendor by Thanksgiving. I have 2 backup vendors pre-qualified if needed. And if we push to February, would that improve quality or just waste time? Olivia considered it carefully. This was a test not of her strategy, but of her judgment. February would improve quality marginally, maybe 5 to 7%, but we'd miss the January market window when our competitors are typically slower. From a strategic standpoint, a very good January launch beats a perfect February launch. The revenue opportunity cost outweighs the quality improvement. Ethan nodded slowly. I agree. January it is. He looked around the table. Other thoughts? I think it's solid, the VP of Operations said. Aggressive, but realistic. I'm in. Marketing budget is well allocated, the CFO added. ROI projections are credible. Approved on my end. One by one they voiced approval. Looks like you have unanimous support, Ethan said, and Olivia tried not to visibly sag with relief. Nice work, Olivia. Let's move forward with implementation. Keep us updated on the vendor selection process. Will do. Thank you all. She gathered her materials, said her goodbyes professionally, and walked out. The moment she turned the corner into the empty hallway, she let out a huge breath. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, told you that you had it. That was impressive. Olivia, you asked the hardest question. Ethan, had to. Everyone was watching to see if it'd go easy on you. Needed to prove I wouldn't. Olivia. Did it work? Ethan, CFO told me after you left that you clearly earned your position. So, yes, it worked. Olivia, thank you for the tough question then. Ethan, thank you for the brilliant answer. Hello. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. The board wants me to do a keynote at the National Tech Conference in December. It's in Seattle 3 days, big industry event, lots of networking, media coverage, the whole deal. That's great. You'll be amazing. I want you to come with me. Olivia blinked. Come with you. Not as my girlfriend. Well, yes, as my girlfriend, but also as my director of digital marketing. The conference has sessions on emerging marketing strategies. You could present our Q1 approach. It's good exposure for you and for Apex. He ran a hand through his hair. And I'd really like you there both professionally and personally. Ethan, that's a huge conference. Everyone in the industry will be there. If we go together, people will know we're dating. Yes. They probably already know from the articles and the company gossip, but this would be more public, more official. Olivia sat down on her couch, processing. You're sure about this? Making us that public? He sat next to her, taking her hands. Olivia, we've been doing this dance for 6 weeks now, being careful, watching every interaction, making sure we're always above reproach, and it's exhausting. We're going to have to do that at Apex, probably forever. That's just the reality of our positions. But outside the office, at an industry conference, where we're both there for legitimate business reasons, I want to introduce you as my girlfriend and my colleague, not hide one or the other. What if people think I'm only speaking because I'm dating you? Then they'll hear you speak and realize how ridiculous that assumption was. Olivia, you're brilliant at your job. Your presentation today proved that. You don't need me to validate your expertise. She looked at their intertwined hands, then back at his face. He looked hopeful and nervous and absolutely sincere. Okay, she said. Okay? Okay. I'll go, and I'll present, and we'll be public and professional and figure it out as we go. His smile could have powered the entire city. Yeah? Yeah. But I'm warning you now, I'm bringing Zoe as my emotional support human. She's wanted to go to this conference for years. And if I'm doing this, I need backup. Done. I'll add her to the company attendee list. He pulled Olivia closer, kissing her softly. Thank you. For what? For being willing to navigate this mess with me. It's not exactly the simple romance anyone dreams about. Please. Simple is overrated. I'll take complicated with you over simple with anyone else. That's the cheesiest thing you've ever said. I know. I'm horrified at myself. Hello, I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. Choose a voice that resonates with you, and let's begin our creative audio journey together. Hard to tell with board members. He sat back down next to her. Either way, I'll handle it. Is this about us? I don't know. Maybe partially. But the board's been restless for months, ever since the security breach. They've been questioning everything. This might not even be related to our relationship. But it might be. But it might be, he admitted. Look, whatever happens tomorrow, it doesn't change anything between us, okay? The board can have concerns. They can vote on censures or policy changes or whatever they want, but they can't tell me who I'm allowed to date as long as I'm not violating company policy, and we're not. You sure about that? I had the legal team review our entire relationship timeline. We're clean. Everything we've done has been by the book. The only thing they can complain about is optics, and optics aren't grounds for termination. Olivia nodded, but something cold had settled in her chest. Maybe I shouldn't go to Seattle with you. If the board is already worried about optics, no, absolutely not. Ethan turned to face her fully. We're not making decisions based on their discomfort. If they have legitimate concerns, well, address them. But we're not hiding or pretending or backing down because some board members are uncomfortable with the idea of their CEO having a personal life. Ethan, I mean it, Olivia. I will compromise on a lot of things. Board relationships require diplomacy, but that's not negotiable. She looked at him, this man who defended her publicly, navigated corporate politics, and refused to let circumstances dictate his choices, even when it would have been easier. Okay, she said quietly, but promise me you'll tell me if this becomes a real problem. If choosing me starts costing you things that matter, the only thing that matters is building a company I'm proud of with people I trust. You're part of that. He kissed her forehead. The board will figure that out eventually. The next morning, Ethan texted her at 7 a.m. Ethan, board meeting in an hour. Wish me luck. Olivia, you don't need luck. You have facts, documentation, and the moral high ground. But good luck anyway. Ethan, you're my favorite person. Talk later. Olivia tried to focus on work, but every email felt like a distraction from wondering what was happening in that boardroom. At 10:30 a.m., Zoe burst into her office without knocking. Have you heard? Heard what? The board meeting just ended. Ethan walked out. He looked, I don't know how to describe it, determined, angry. It was intense. Olivia's phone rang. I need to see you, Ethan said without preamble. Can you come to my office right now? Right now? She practically ran to the elevator, her mind spinning through worst-case scenarios. They'd issued a censure. They'd demanded he end their relationship. They'd threatened to remove him as CEO. When she got to his office, he was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, staring out at the city. What happened? She asked. He turned, and his expression was complicated, frustrated, determined, and something else she couldn't quite read. The board gave me an ultimatum. Olivia's heart stopped. What kind of ultimatum? They want me to either step down as CEO or sign a morality clause that essentially gives them veto power over my personal relationships. What? Apparently 3 board members are concerned that my judgment is compromised, that my relationship with you is a distraction, that it sets a bad precedent for the company. He laughed bitterly. One of them actually used the phrase, maintaining professional dignity. What are you going to do? Ethan crossed the room to her, taking both her hands. I told them to draft the paperwork. Olivia's stomach dropped. The morality clause? No, my resignation. What? I'm not signing a clause that gives them control over my personal life, and I'm not stepping down as CEO. So I told them I'd be happy to transition out under the condition that they buy out my shares at fair market value, that I retain all intellectual property rights to projects I personally developed, and that they publicly state my departure is voluntary and unrelated to job performance. Olivia stared at him, trying to process what he was saying. You're actually going to resign? If they're serious, yes. But here's the thing. They're not serious. Or at least not all of them are. He smiled slightly. 2 board members walked out after I made my counteroffer. They thought this was a bluff to control me, not an actual attempt to force me out. And now, they're realizing that A, I'm not bluffing, and B, buying me out would cost them about $40 million, plus losing the CEO who built this company. So what happens now? Now they have 48 hours to either accept my resignation terms, withdraw the ultimatum completely, or call my bluff. My money's on them withdrawing. And if they don't, then I walk away. I've got enough saved to start over, build something new. Maybe take some time to actually figure out what I want to do with my life beyond quarterly earnings reports. Ethan, you can't just throw away everything you built. I'm not throwing it away. I'm refusing to let them weaponize it against me. There's a difference. He squeezed her hands gently. Olivia, I love this company. I poured 8 years of my life into building it. But I won't let them use it as leverage to control my personal choices. That's not a company I want to lead anyway. This is because of me. If we weren't dating, they'd find something else to try to control. That's what boards do when they feel like they're losing influence. They push boundaries to see what they can get away with. I'm just making it clear where my boundaries are. Olivia pulled her hands away, pacing to the window. You're really willing to walk away from Apex? For me? I'm willing to walk away from Apex for the principle that my personal life is my own business, as long as I'm not breaking laws or company policies. You're part of that. But this is bigger than just us. She turned back to him. What if this destroys everything, your reputation, your career? Then I'll rebuild. But I won't rebuild by compromising on things that matter. He moved closer. Look, I know this is scary. I know it's a lot. If you want to step back until this is resolved, don't finish that sentence. Olivia closed the distance between them. If you're willing to risk everything for the principle of this, I'm not backing down because it got complicated. We're in this together, stupid ultimatums and all. He pulled her into a hug, and she felt some of the tension leave his shoulders. I'm supposed to be the brave CEO making grand stands, he murmured into her hair. You're not supposed to have to deal with this level of corporate drama. Too late. I'm already dealing with it. We both are. His phone buzzed. He checked it and showed her the screen. Board chair, meeting reconvened 4 p.m. today. Please attend. We'd like to discuss alternative solutions. Alternative solutions? Olivia read. That sounds like backing down. Sounds like they called my bluff and discovered it wasn't a bluff. Ethan pocketed his phone. 4 p.m. Should be interesting. At 4 p.m., Ethan walked into the boardroom with the kind of calm confidence that came from knowing you held all the cards. The board chair looked significantly less confident. Ethan, thank you for coming. We've reconsidered our previous discussion. I assumed as much given the short turnaround time. We may have been hasty in our approach. The board has discussed it further, and we believe we can find a more reasonable solution that addresses everyone's concerns. I'm listening. The board chair glanced at his colleagues before continuing. We're willing to withdraw the morality clause requirement entirely. We acknowledge that your personal life is your own business, provided it doesn't interfere with your professional responsibilities or violate company policy. Which it hasn't, Ethan said flatly. Which our review confirms it hasn't, the chair agreed. However, we would like to request increased transparency regarding major decisions that could be perceived as conflicts of interest, not approval, just notification and documentation. Ethan considered this. Define major decisions, promotions, terminations, or significant budget allocations that involve anyone you have a personal relationship with. We're not asking for veto power, just advanced notice and documentation of the decision-making process. That's reasonable, Ethan said. I'm already doing that through HR. Formalizing it is fine. The board chair looked relieved. Then we're agreed. You'll stay on as CEO. Well, implement the transparency protocol and consider this matter closed. On one condition, Ethan added. This doesn't happen again. If the board has concerns about my leadership, we discuss them directly. No more ultimatums. No more trying to leverage my personal life as a control mechanism. We're adults. We can communicate like adults. Several board members shifted uncomfortably. Agreed, the chair said. No more ultimatums. Ethan stood, extending his hand. Then we have a deal. I'll have my assistant send over the updated transparency protocols for review. He walked out of that boardroom with his job intact, his principles defended, and a point proven. When he got back to his office, he immediately texted Olivia. Ethan, crisis averted. Still CEO. Board back down. Dinner to celebrate. Olivia. I'm buying. You earned it. Deal. Pick you up at 7. That night they went to a small Italian restaurant where nobody cared about corporate politics or board ultimatums. So you just called their bluff, Olivia said, over pasta carbonara. And they folded. They folded because buying me out would have been a financial nightmare, and finding a replacement CEO who knows the company as well as I do would have taken months. It was a calculated risk based on knowing my own value. That's either brilliant or insane. Little bit of both. He took a sip of wine, but it established something important. I'm CEO because I'm good at it, not because I'm willing to let them micromanage my life. That's a precedent worth setting. You know what the best part of today was? Olivia asked. What? Realizing that we're actually going to be okay. Not perfect, not without complications, but okay. We can handle corporate drama, board ultimatums, public scrutiny, because when things got really serious today, neither of us ran. We just dealt with it. We make a good team, Ethan agreed, both in and out of the office. Speaking of which, Seattle is in 3 weeks. Am I really presenting at the conference? If you want to, but yes, I already submitted your name as a speaker. Your session is called Data-Driven Marketing Strategies in Competitive Markets. They approved it immediately. You submitted me without asking first. I submitted your credentials and portfolio. The conference organizers approved you based on your actual qualifications. I just facilitated the introduction. Olivia shook her head, smiling. You're impossible. You keep saying that like it's a bad thing. It's not. It's just you, confident and slightly arrogant and somehow always right about things. I'm not always right. Name one time you were wrong. I thought that sci-fi movie you made me watch last week would be good based on the reviews. It was terrible. Okay, that's fair. The physics were completely wrong. The physics were the least of its problems. They finished dinner, walked back to Olivia's apartment, and spent the rest of the evening being perfectly, normally, complicatedly happy. As Ethan was leaving around midnight, Olivia stopped him at the door. Thank you, she said. For today, for not backing down. For being willing to risk everything for something you believe in. I wasn't risking everything. I was just refusing to compromise on the things that actually matter. He kissed her softly. You matter. What we have matters. The board can work around that or find a new CEO. Lucky for them, you're very good at your job. Lucky for me, you're very good at yours. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. After he left, Olivia sat on her couch with a cup of tea, thinking about wrong numbers and right people, and how sometimes the universe just decides to throw chaos at you and see what you do with it. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, home safe. Already missing you. Is that clingy? Olivia, extremely, but ill allow it. Ethan, Seattle in 3 weeks public debut as the CEO's girlfriend who also happens to be brilliant at marketing. Olivia, no pressure or anything. Ethan, you've handled everything else life has thrown at you. You can handle a conference. Olivia, well, see. Good night, Ethan. Ethan, good night, Olivia, sweet dreams. She smiled at her phone, set it aside, and went to bed feeling like maybe, just maybe, they were actually going to pull this off. 3 weeks until Seattle. 3 weeks until everything became even more public. 3 weeks until the next challenge. But for tonight, everything was perfectly, complicatedly fine. The Seattle skyline looked like something out of a postcard as Olivia stared out the hotel room window, trying to remember how to breathe normally. In 4 hours she'd be presenting her marketing strategies to approximately 300 industry professionals, half of whom probably knew she was dating the CEO of her company. You're spiraling, Zoe said from the other bed. Stop it. I'm mentally preparing. You're catastrophizing. There's a difference. Zoe walked over, physically turning Olivia away from the window. Your metrics speak for themselves. Your work speaks for itself. The only people who will care about your relationship status are people whose opinions don't matter anyway. A knock interrupted them. Ethan's voice came through the door. It's me. Can I come in? Zoe let him in before announcing, I'm grabbing coffee. Be back in 20. Once alone, Ethan crossed the room and took Olivia's hands. You're using your worried face again. What if people only show up because they're curious about us? Then they'll stay because you're legitimately brilliant at your job. He squeezed her hands. I've seen your presentation. It's exceptional. Yes, some people might show up out of curiosity, but they're going to stay because you're genuinely good at what you do. You have to say that. I'm saying it because it's true. Your session starts at 2 p.m. I'll be in the front row asking difficult questions to prove I'm not going easy on you. That's your idea of support? That's my idea of showing everyone that our professional relationship is exactly that professional. He kissed her forehead. You've got this. The conference room was packed, every seat full, people standing in the back. At exactly 2 p.m., Olivia began. Good afternoon. Today I'm sharing strategies that resulted in a 340% increase in digital engagement and a 28% revenue increase. These aren't theories, these are practical, tested approaches with measurable results. She clicked to her first slide. How many of you are working with smaller budgets, shorter timelines, and higher expectations than seems reasonable? Nearly every hand went up. People laughed. Exactly. Welcome to modern marketing. For the next 45 minutes she owned that room, real examples, solid data, practical insights. Then Ethan raised his hand. You mentioned 340% engagement increase. What's your conversion rate? Does high engagement actually translate to business results? There it was, the tough question. Great question. Olivia pulled up her conversion metrics. Our conversion rate on engaged users is 23% compared to 8% on non-engaged users. Engaged users have 31% higher lifetime value. The engagement isn't vanity metrics, it's identifying high-value customer relationships early. Ethan nodded, taking notes. Like everyone else, when she concluded, the applause was genuine and enthusiastic. Several people approached afterward with questions, business cards, genuine interest. Nobody mentioned Ethan. They just wanted to talk strategy. That was incredible, Zoe said when the room cleared. Ethan approached last. That was one of the best presentations I've seen at this conference. You made complex strategies accessible. That's rare. Thank you for the tough question. You established your own credibility. I just gave you an opportunity to prove it. He glanced around. They were alone now. Dinner tonight to celebrate. Sounds perfect. 2 weeks later, back home, Olivia got a text from an unknown number. Unknown. Hi, Olivia. Marcus Chen, from Innovate Tech. Attended your session. Brilliant work. Would love to discuss a consulting opportunity. Here is my card. She showed Ethan over breakfast. Marcus Chen is CMO of one of our biggest competitors. That's not small. I'm not interested. You should at least hear him out. Know your market value. You're encouraging me to talk to competitors. I'm encouraging you to make informed career decisions. If you choose to stay at Apex, which I hope you do, it should be because it's the best option professionally, not because you're dating me. The meeting happened a week later. Marcus offered senior director, significant raise, equity package. That's generous, Olivia said carefully. You're worth it. Take 2 weeks to think about it. That night she told Ethan everything. It's a good offer, he said. Better than what we can currently match. You're not going to convince me to stay? I want you to stay, but I want you to want to stay. He turned to face her. What do you actually want, Olivia? She thought carefully. I want to stay at Apex. I want to keep building what I've started. I want to prove I can succeed here. She paused. And yes, I want to work somewhere I can also date the CEO without constant scandal. Then counter me. What? Tell me what it would take for you to stay. Not just salary, what do you want from your career? More autonomy, real budget authority, a seat at strategic planning, and she hesitated. A clear path to VP within 2 years if I hit metrics. Done. Ethan, you can't just not just anything. You've earned autonomy with your performance. Your ROI justifies budget authority. You're already contributing strategically. And VP track, that's where you were headed anyway. I'm formalizing it. The board will see documented justification for everything. This isn't favoritism, it's retaining exceptional talent. How do I know that's true? Because I encouraged you to meet with a competitor instead of trying to guilt you into staying. I want you at Apex because you're an asset, not because we're dating. She looked at this man who refused to let their relationship overshadow her merit. Okay, Stay on those terms. Welcome to your new role, Senior Director with VP Track. 6 months later, Olivia sat in her new office reviewing Q1 results. Her campaigns had exceeded projections again, engagement up 412%, conversion up 31%, revenue attribution up 43%. A knock on her door. Ethan walked in and closed it. The board reviewed your Q1 results. They were impressed. That's good. Very good. They're asking if we can clone you. He leaned back. You've proven everything you needed to prove. Nobody questions your position anymore. Does that mean less paranoia? I think we've earned breathing room. The scrutiny died down. People focus on your results, not our relationship. That's all I wanted to be known for my work. Mission accomplished. He stood to leave, then paused. Dinner tonight. I'll actually cook. You cook? I can follow a recipe without starting fires. That counts. That's not cooking, but sure. 7. And bring that case study you're working on. I want your thoughts. After he left, Olivia looked out her window at the city. 6 months ago, she had been sending rage texts to wrong numbers. Now she was senior director on VP Track, dating the CEO, and somehow making it work. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, forgot to mention my mom wants to meet you. Dinner this weekend. Olivia, your mom who beat cancer. Ethan, that's her. She'll ask a million questions and show embarrassing childhood photos. Olivia, perfect. I need blackmail material. What time? Ethan, I'm regretting this already. 1 year later, Olivia sat in the boardroom, not as a guest, but as VP of Digital Strategy. Shed competed against 5 candidates for the position, 3 external, 2 internal. 1 on merit. Unanimous vote. Congratulations, VP Bennett, the board chair said. We're excited about your expanded role. After the meeting, she returned to her new office and sat in disbelief. 18 months ago, she'd been sending angry texts about quitting. Now she was a VP. Her phone rang. Ethan, VP Bennett, how does it feel? Olivia, surreal, amazing, terrifying. Ethan, you earned it completely. Olivia, I know, that's the best part. Ethan, dinner tonight, somewhere fancy. We're celebrating a major milestone. Olivia, sounds perfect. That evening at the city's most exclusive restaurant, they celebrated properly. After dinner, walking by the waterfront, Olivia stopped. When I sent that wrong number text, I felt stuck and undervalued. I almost didn't send it, but you did to the wrong person who turned out to be exactly right. She took his hands. You changed my life, Ethan. Not by giving me opportunities I earned those, but by believing I could earn them. You did all the hard parts. Maybe. But you made it possible. They stood overlooking the water, 2 people who'd found each other through chaos. So what now? Olivia asked. We keep going. Navigate the corporate world as CEO and VP who happen to be dating. How long? How does forever sound? Extremely sappy, but true. He kissed her. You're stuck with me. Wrong number and all. Best wrong number ever. 6 months later, Olivia was in operations rotation for her executive development program when Ethan's assistant called. Mr. Callahan needs to see you when you have a moment. She went up wondering what this was about. He was by the window looking nervous. Everything okay? She asked. Yeah. I need to ask you something. He turned, running a hand through his hair. We've been together almost 2 years. We've navigated chaos, board ultimatums, public scrutiny, and me eating your clearly labeled leftovers. You're bringing up the leftovers during a serious conversation. Context. We've handled everything together with grace and patience for my occasional idiocy. He crossed to her, taking her hands. I love you. I've loved you since that first coffee meeting. I want to spend my life with you, navigating careers and chaos and whatever comes next. He pulled out a small box and dropped to one knee. Olivia Bennett, will you marry me? You're proposing in your office? I know it's not romantic. It's perfect. It's exactly us. She pulled him up, kissing him. Yes. Absolutely yes. He slid the ring on, simple, elegant, exactly her style. We need to tell HR, she said. Already scheduled for this afternoon. I planned ahead. Of course you did. The wedding 1 year later. Olivia stood in the garden venue. Zoe adjusting her veil. Stop fidgeting. You look perfect. What if I trip? Then Ethan will think it's adorable. Relax. The music started. Olivia walked down the aisle, saw their small gathering of loved ones, and then saw Ethan. He was crying. She made it without tripping and took his hands. Hi, she whispered. Hi, you look incredible. You're crying. Can't help it. They exchanged vows they'd written. Olivia, Ethan said, when you texted me by accident, you changed my life. You reminded me that love is worth fighting for. I promise to always answer your texts, support your career, and love you exactly as you are, brilliant, stubborn, and movie quoting. Her turn. Ethan, I sent that text on my worst professional day. Instead of quitting, I found you. You believed in me when I didn't. I promise honesty, challenge when you need it, and loving you as you are ambitious, nerdy, and annoyingly always right. I now pronounce you married. You may kiss. As they walked back down the aisle together, Olivia caught Zoe's eye, her best friend crying and giving a thumbs up. During their first dance, Ethan whispered, How does it feel, Mrs. Callahan? Weird. Good weird. I'm keeping Bennett professionally. Bennett Callahan has a nice ring. Very progressive CEO of you. Thank you for sending that wrong number. Best mistake ever. 5 years later, Olivia stood in the boardroom presenting the 5-year strategic plan. The AI expansion positions us to capture 35% more market share while maintaining ethical practices. Unanimous approval. She walked to her corner office windows on 2 sides, view of the city. Ethan, how'd it go? Unanimous approval. Ethan. Knew it. Dinner tonight. Olivia. Your turn to cook. Ethan. I'll order pizza. Olivia. That's not cooking, but I'll accept it. Ethan. This is why I married you. See you at 7. Love you. Olivia. Love you more. She looked around her office. 5 years ago, angry texts. Now VP on CEO track. Married. Genuinely happy. Life was complicated, but it worked. She texted Zoe. Olivia. Remember when I accidentally texted the CEO? Zoe. Obviously. Best story ever. Olivia. Just wanted to say thank you for convincing me not to delete it. Zoe. Always. Love you.